Are you going to start studying? Great! Here you can find out more about how student aid from CSN works. Student aid is made up of two parts: the grant and the loan. The grant is given to you, but the loan you obviously have to pay back. If you only want to apply for the grant, that's fine. In some cases, you can get a larger grant, like if you have children, or if you're going to take courses at the primary or secondary school level and meet special requirements. If you've worked before and had an income over a certain level, you may be allowed to borrow more money. You can read more about the terms and conditions at csn.se. Have you thought about working while studying? If so, it's a good idea to look into how much income you're allowed to have without it affecting your student aid. This is called the income limit. At csn.se, there's a handy calculator function which helps you figure out your own income limit and what your repayments might be. You're normally expected to start paying back your loan 6 months after your final CSN student aid payment at the earliest. How much you're supposed to pay every year depends, among other things, on how much you've borrowed, interest rates, and the length of your repayment period. Of course, you can pay off your loan faster if you'd like to. Okay, so what does it take to get student aid? First of all, you need to be studying courses that entitle you to student aid. You'll also need to study at least 50% of full time for at least 3 weeks. If you've previously received student aid for other courses, you'll need to have completed those courses for credit. At csn.se, you can read more about terms and conditions, and also find out what rules apply if you're not a Swedish citizen. You can only receive student aid for a limited number of weeks. For classes at the primary school level, you can get student aid for 40, 80, or 100 weeks, depending on your prior level of education. For secondary school level, you can get 80 weeks. If you don't have any earlier secondary school education, you can get 40 more weeks. If you're studying at post-secondary level, like at a college or university, you can get student aid for 240 weeks. Are you almost ready to apply? You can do that at csn.se under Mina sidor. Make sure you have an electronic identification, such as a mobile bank ID, which will make things easier, and you'll receive your decision sooner. Student aid is paid out in advance, usually for 4 weeks at a time. In order to get your first payment, you'll have to register for your courses and verify that you have begun your studies. And don't forget to register your bank account and clearing number with Swedbank, so you can have the money deposited directly into your account. They're the ones who take care of payments from CSN. Sometimes things don't turn out the way you thought they would when you applied for student aid. Maybe you've earned fewer credits than you thought, or you've had to discontinue your studies. Remember to notify CSN of any changes so we can make sure your payments are correct. If you become ill or need to be home to care for a child, it's important that you let us know right away. Why, you might be wondering? Well, that's so you can make use of CSN security rules. Among other things, this means that you'll be able to keep your student aid without the weeks counting as part of your studies. Also, the demands on completing your coursework will be lighter. You notify Försäkringskassan in case of sick leave and care for children that are ill to CSN. Do you have a better idea of how things work now? Great. It's our hope that student aid will allow you to get the education you've always dreamed of. When you start repaying your loan, you'll be making sure that those who come after you are given that same chance. Good luck with your studies, and welcome to CSN.